Shalom. All praises, blessings, glories, and honors to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Racha Kodash, and double honors to my elder apostles and bishop elders of Greater Millstone who taught me this truth, as well of men of like mind. Shalom wa chasad, which means peace and mercy to the elect of the nation of Israel, my so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, and Israelite foreigners of the seed line of our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whom are scattered here in America, which is Babylon the Great, and abroad. To you I say Shalom, beginning with the 144,000 prophets, and Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, willing, this lesson is edifying and informative. My name is Quanawath, and in the news, ICE raid protests turned destructive in Los Angeles. Published today ago by KTLA 5. This is a great example of insurrection and men and women disregarding their presidents, their governors, their mayors, their local leaders, because they've taken the course of their own actions into their own hands, as it is written. So again, this is a great example, a foreshadowing of what is to come on a much wider and intensified scale across the globe, especially here in America, according to the prophecy written of here in the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, verse 16, which reads, "For there shall be sedition among men." Now, what is sedition? According to the Merriam's Webster's Dictionary, sedition is incitement of resistance to or insurrection against lawful authority. Now, what is incitement? The word incitement is from the word incite, which means to move to action, to stir up, to spur on, to urge on. And the word resistance in this context means an act or instance of resisting, opposing, a means of resisting. So sedition is incitement of resistance, a stir up of opposition to or insurrection, which means an act or instance of revolting against civil authority or an established government, against lawful authority, including an established government. So we are witnessing another example of sedition among men in Los Angeles and invading one another. And of course, wicked men, including YN and YBs, take these opportunities to invade the homes and businesses of one another, even so-called law-abiding citizens. But when the Lord opens the floodgates of judgment on a much wider and intensified scale, men will do this in a different fashion, the likes of which the world has not seen. For during those evils, which means bad times, the world will be experiencing Jacob's trouble. But especially and primarily here in America, Babylon the Great. Because the majority of the tribes are here in America, Babylon the Great. Okay? Men are going to be shooting each other down, breaking into each other's homes, spoiling their goods, which means to take for booty, including their food and drink, wives and daughters and sons. Our Lord said, because iniquity shall abound, in the book of St. Matthew, chapter 24, verse 12, the love of many shall wax, which means to grow cold. Because during the evils of Jacob's trouble, many great miseries will befall men upon this earth, especially here in America, Babylon the Great, because they have walked in great pride. And because of their pride, it states here in 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed and men shall be afraid. And so reading on, verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, which is one of the reasons why the enemy shall come in like a flood, having great wrath through their different variations and divisions of military troops, whether it be domestically or internationally. Here in America, Babylon the Great, through FEMA troops or whatever have. But we do know, according to biblical prophecy, they will come down having great wrath, because they know that they had but a short time, like a flood. Okay? And so it reads on to say, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And we've been seeing that these different clips and whatever has been floating around online in LA, regarding LA. Okay? A man shall desire to go into a city, and the time is going to come when men are going to desire to go from city to city, whether it be through land, air, or sea, and should not be able. You will not be able to go from city to city, state to state, town to town, country to country, because society will have at that time come to a halt, a standstill. Things are going to be locked down because of their pride. The pride of who? The pride of the people. In particular, 2/3 of our own people shall be troubled. Remember, they say in the book of Amos, chapter 9, verse 10, that the evils, that is, the evils of Jacob's trouble, shall not overtake nor prevent us. That's what they say, which is a very proud thing to say. And so because of their pride, and especially the pride of you women, the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And if men are going to be afraid, then how much more women? In Jeremiah, the 30th chapter, it says, ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Does a man travail with child? The answer to that question is no. Why then do I see men travailing as women with child? Paraphrasing the scripture. Because men are going to become as women. And since men are going to become as women during those evils, how much more women? A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. Modern day gun. It could even be an actual sword. You know, niggas love to play with machetes, knives and shit. But shall destroy their houses with the sword. Nigga throw a grenade in somebody's home and shit. Yeah, man, Jacob's wild, bro. Scripture says that there are wild bulls in the net. For among my people are found evil men, wicked men. They lay wait as one that set up a trap, they catch men. And spoil their goods, take their goods, whether it be their food, their drink, their wives, their daughters, their sons. Because of what? Because of the lack of bread, which is famine. And for great tribulation. Because great tribulation is coming. We've all been going through different trials and tribulations, but the tribulation that is coming will be unprecedented. The word unprecedented means never known or seen before. And those will be the days of Jacob's trouble. So now let's listen to this 8-minute clip, which I'd set to 1.5x, just so it could speed up.
Chaos erupts here in LA County. Widespread immigration raids triggering protests from Paramount to downtown. And tonight, an unlawful assembly has been declared as President Trump announces he will be deploying thousands of National Guard troops here to Los Angeles. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the News at 10. I'm Rick Chambers. Major developments during a second day of violent confrontations between protesters and federal agents who are out on the streets trying to round up undocumented immigrants. As I mentioned, President Trump has ordered 2,000 National Guard members to counter that violence, and that angered Governor Newsom, who said that the move was purposely inflammatory and will only escalate the tensions. We've got team coverage tonight of these raids. KTLA5's Lindsay Pena is in downtown LA. Sky 5 is over the situation as well, but let's go to Chris Wolf. He's in Compton tonight where the clashes first erupted earlier. Chris?
Rick, unrest in Southern California continues tonight with more clashes between protesters and federal agents and deputies and police over expanding immigration operations. Take a look at the scene behind me. This intersection here in Compton has been the scene of several street takeovers, so it is a hotspot for activity. We've seen continual fireworks going off. The police chopper is overhead. Now President Trump says he is sending the National Guard to this region. Last night we were in downtown Los Angeles, as many viewers may remember. Earlier today we were in Paramount.
And this is just another reason that they'll used to justify the need for enacting martial law. And the word martial law means warlike law. Martial means warlike. Real draconian, harsh.
Now Compton, all volatile locations. Chaos and calamity rocked Paramount Saturday on the second day of demonstrations against federal immigration operations in Southern California. KTLA was on the ground and in the air, capturing the explosive environment. The mayor of Paramount says tension escalated after U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, and other federal agents were apparently staging at or near a local Home Depot center.
And ICE is here, terrorizing the community.
Throngs of protesters gathered in the industrial area, sparking more clashes between law enforcement and members of the community. Crowds taunted authorities, with some people going so far as to block a U.S. Marshals service bus, while others hurled rocks and other objects at law enforcement vehicles, according to the L.A. County Sheriff. Federal agents responded with pepper balls, rubber bullets, tear gas, and flashbangs.
In the last several hours, unfortunately, the crowd has grown. We believe at this time it's at approximately 350, maybe 400. As the crowd has grown, it has become more violent.
A wooden pallet and then a car went up in flames during the unrest, sending black smoke into the...
Now, I wouldn't be surprised if they snuck a bunch of crisis actors and agents and all kind of mumbo jumbo bug outs up in that shit, man. Scripture says we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. These devils are very slick. They've done it in the past, and they'll sure as hell do it again. They never let a good crisis go to waste. That's how the devil operates.
Air. The cause of the car fire is unclear. Federal officials say the government is doing its job, enforcing the law, protecting the public, and securing borders. Opponents say this is not justice, but madness, and that hardworking people are being treated like criminals.
You know, my whole family is scared, our neighbors. I came out and wanted to see what was all the commotion, and sure indeed, there were ICE agents.
Besides bringing judgment of you Latin tribes, man.
Yeah, they threw several beanbags at me. I went near them and I said, I'm here for a peaceful assembly.
The Homeland Security sweeps are part of the Trump administration's unparalleled crackdown on illegal immigration.
And make no mistake, the Southern Kingdom, they're going to get it too. You so-called black men and women of the Southern Kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, you're going to get it too. Not just the Latin tribes. You too.
Back here live with a large crowd gathering in Compton. According to ICE, agents arrested as many as 118 people in Los Angeles this week, including 44 during operations in downtown and South Los Angeles on Friday. We'll have more coming up throughout the night. For now, reporting live in Compton, I'm Chris Wolf, KTLA 5 News.
All right, Wolfie, we'll see you at the bottom of the hour. Thanks. From the ground, let's go up to Gil Davis now. He's overhead in Sky 5. Gil?
Well, Rick, we're showing you here Atlantic Boulevard and Alondra Boulevard here. This is the second time today that the LA County Sheriffs have taken back this intersection, as Chris Wolf was just telling you. We see that burned out car in the middle of the intersection here with the law enforcement there. The Sheriff's Department has moved in and retaken the intersection here. Traffic is open on Atlantic, both north and southbound, but Alondra remains closed here. But it was quite a scene here just a short time ago when the county sheriffs here were further back. And let me take you up the street here. They were all the way back by the 710 freeway here when they were struggling with the protesters to get control of this street back again. You can see fire department coming into the scene right now, but it looks like a war zone down here. The good news is they've recaptured the intersection here, and it looks like they've so far dispersed the crowd quite a bit here.
Yeah, obviously we're heading. All right, Gil, I was just going to ask you, the crowd seems to be diminished considerably. Do you see anybody standing out on the sidelines just watching what's happening?
Yeah, there's quite a few people here at the gas station and down the street here west of Atlantic. You can see the crowd has kind of dispersed because of the activity by the Sheriff's Department. Now, the fire department, not sure why they're rolling into the scene right now. I can tell you there was a small fire that broke out near, in fact, you can see the smoke there still coming up out of this area here along the strip mall. But again, the crowd has moved further west here, and that's good news for people on Atlantic. That's the latest overhead. I'll send it back to you.
All right, Gil, we'll talk to you throughout the hour. Thank you for that. In downtown LA, federal police have established a skirmish line to keep protesters away from a detention center there, which has been targeted over the past couple of nights. Lindsay Pena is live for us in downtown LA with more on that. Lindsay?
Yeah, Rick, we're on Alameda right now, just east of 1st Street. I'm going to go ahead and step out of the way so you can see what is happening. You mentioned that skirmish line officers are starting to move towards us as I speak. Everything started over at the detention center earlier this afternoon. We were there for everything. We saw the confrontation between those demonstrators and the federal officers who came out of the detention building and deployed pepper spray. They deployed the flashbangs. And as you see, we're walking down Alameda now towards 1st Street. The LAPD officers are pushing us back further away from the detention center. You can see there are still protesters and activists out here right now filming everything that is happening. We also have seen lots of those protesters disperse as they push them further back. We have the chopper overhead right now. Again, this started with federal officers, but LAPD is now on scene. We will continue to stay out here and update you as this situation develops. Rick, I'm going to go ahead and send it back to you in the studio right now.
All right, Lindsay, thank you so much. LA's Mayor Karen Bass issued a new statement addressing this unrest, and she said in part, quote, "We've been in direct contact with officials in Washington, D.C. and are working closely with law enforcement to find the best path forward. Everyone has the right to peacefully protest, but let me be clear," she said, "violence and destruction are unacceptable, and those responsible will be held accountable."
And that concludes the report. With that, I will end this lesson, and I'll catch you brothers and sisters, Lord's willing, in the next lesson. Shalom.